What are you doing?
Living my dream. What does it look like I'm doing? This is Ben, and I'm Kaitlin, and welcome to Life in Balance, a series to explore what it truly means to live a life of your own design.
This time on Life in Balance, we explore van life, why we decided to move in full time, the struggles, and ultimately the beauty of life on the road. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the ride.
I've never known a less.
It was just a no-brainer. My whole being said yes, and not in this way that I thought about it, but in this way that I fully jumped 2 feet in. The opportunity just presented itself so beautifully. I mean, our house had exploded, we didn't have that many things anymore.
That's it.
It felt like every time we were out on the road and adventuring, packing and unpacking our bags all the time, it was just like a natural state for us to be wandering and wanting to explore. So it was one of the most seamless and full body yes experiences I've ever had. Telling everybody before even Ben was on board.
Yeah, she didn't even ask me. She just started telling people that we were moving into a motorhome. I thought we were just getting something fun to play with or go camping in or visit our friends, but no, we were selling our stuff and moving in. But luckily, after 15 plus years of saying yes to this crazy lady's ideas, I was pretty sure this was going to work out great.
Sort of the way I felt when I married Ben, actually. And that was not a bad decision. That's for sure. And I'm so glad that I listened to my heart, that I didn't question myself, that I jumped 2 feet in, because to be honest, it brought me my baby girl as well. And if you don't believe me how awesome van life is, check this out. Yes, it was all those things. And it was the most terrifying, excruciating, and confronting experience of my life. Like, sincerely. Over and over again, I had to question who I was. And that started with really seeing how much money and my career was intertwined with a lot of fear. A lot of this scarcity mentality that I think is pervasive in our culture. I really noticed that over and over again, if things weren't quite working out, my set point was, I need to go back to a familiar pattern, a way that I make money, it's a sure way, instead of like tuning into my heart and opening to that like sweet guidance that is inside and the beautiful divine synchronistic moments that can occur when I'm not in fear. But we had to learn that. It was just noticing that place where money kind of got me by the neck, got me by the throat, and suffocated the fulfillment and the joy out of the things that I was doing. I became very aware of this extreme pendulum swing that the ego likes to create. It's like, in one moment, if I'm in that fear, scarcity place, what are all the ways that I know how to do this already? Like, not trusting the unknown, not trusting my resourceful creative capacity, but grip and grab and act from this really tense, anxious place. And then the other side of that was, no, I've got this, like this false ego puffing of confidence where I would be like, everyone online's doing it. I'm being sold this constantly. It's so easy. There's a quick fix. You can just fill up your Instagram numbers and sell all your programs on there. No problem. And it was obviously not that easy. And it also was very apparent as I put the effort into that side of things that wasn't actually like in the truth for me. It wasn't coming from a place of integrity or a place of true like meaning. You know, it was such a process of learning to discern, you know, the extremes of my ego, and to let that identity that I created of myself, who I thought I was, shatter. But I couldn't see that a lot of the time I was doing that to be validated outside of myself, to be approved of outside of myself. And so it became very clear that there was a lot of undoing, delayering, shedding, this disillusion and disillusion of my identity that had to be really peeled back and undone so that I could come back to the essence, to the present moment, to my heart. And it was a friggin' mess, an absolute, total yo-yo show.
Please, expand on that.
Identity. I Googled it. There are a lot of definitions. The first one here, dictionary.com. Identity is who you are, the way you think about yourself, the way you are viewed by the world, and the characteristics that define you. Which just tells me that it can change. And how you will change is via dissolution, to dissolve, to break a bond, tie, or union, the undoing of who you think you are so you can just be who you are. And disillusion, to free yourself from the illusion, belief, idealism, and conviction that you should be a certain version based on social conditioning and programs and model behaviors that are not necessary in light of the intelligence of being right now, yourself, who you are.
Please, expand on that.
It constantly demanded that I look inward over and over again. And so that looked like a lot of messy fights or chaotic moments where Ben and I would end up in these vortexes or these like really like familiar gross spots, you know, these codependent places. And it was such a powerful opportunity because obviously you're in a tight space, so you can't run away from it, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no distractions, there's no noise. We had to face ourselves individually and also as a couple, as like teammates that we were, as we let go of who we thought we had to be and allowed ourselves to be more honest, learning to speak more from the truth in the present moment, learning to even be with the present moment as not just a time for meditation in the morning, but also a way of being throughout our day and existing throughout our lives, and listening to something like beyond just, you know, the fear-based thoughts that do come up. Magic started to happen, you know. There is no magical pill, but there was over and over again this magical undercurrent that would keep us afloat. You know, we sold our truck, we like sold all his Bitcoin.
So funny story about that Bitcoin. I bought it years ago, not really paying attention to it, and I kind of forgot about it. And then as we were needing money and needing to figure out what was going on and working through all this crap, being on the road and me quitting my job, I decided to look at my Bitcoin. Turned out I had a fair amount of money in there, nothing mental, but enough to keep us going for a little while longer. So to me, that was kind of the universe showing up again to let me know that everything's okay.
You know, we'd hustle when we had to. I was like, sometimes hit the road, teach all of these classes, push out all these workshops, and I'm from a loving place, so much of it, but also like, you know, we had to work it hard. As we unpacked more and more and stepped towards those really painful moments, it was amazing because, I mean, on the other side of that, every time it was like a reclamation of, wow, there I am. Like, there's my light. There's that, like, you know, creative, innovative wonder. There's those, like, unbelievable synchronistic opportunities that I could have never imagined or thought up of myself. You know, it's like these divine moments where the universe said, here, I've got you. I've got your back. It isn't without the most sometimes awful and hairy and brutal moments to realize that. So good times on the road. Ooh, that's a spicy question. so many things, like the most amount of things in a compressed amount of time. I would say that the biggest thing that it taught me was, sadly, how much I was still living to please, to be validated, to achieve so I was worthy, from the viewpoint of the outside world, from these structures and these kind of ideas of who I thought I had to be. And I really realized as I spent more time on the road and these adventures and more time with myself, really tuning in, that the way to fulfillment was only if I was willing to listen to myself, to my heart, the way I, opened or closed to situations. I reclaimed, the sense of purpose because I felt like there was no wrong decision anymore when I was doing it truly aligned with myself, with my heart. And that was so freeing. It was so freeing because nothing really actually changed. It was just my relationship to everything. My relationship to how I interacted with the world around me shifted and continues to shift, continues to be a practice, but I feel a lot more empowered to continue listening to myself first. Holy balls. The other thing that I think was really powerful was how much the actual experience we had versus what I thought I would experience was different. And I mean, that's just a metaphor for life. Honestly, how many times have I thought that it was going to be a certain way and it turned out totally different? What I started to love was that I stopped having so many expectations, and now I am so much more comfortable with the unknown and uncertainty because I trust myself. And I feel in relationship to something greater, to a vibration, a love source that carries me through the difficult times, that I don't necessarily need to know why or what, or, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me and of me and through me. And yeah, motorhome really threw that one in my face for sure, in the best way, like cake in the face, not punch in the face. Well, sometimes it felt like a punch in the face, let's be straight, but I'm pretty tough.
So there you have it. Van life was a doozy. We laughed, we cried, sometimes a lot. We learned, and by God, we loved. We hope you enjoyed the episode and that something resonated so you can take it with you on your journey to finding your life in balance.
Love so steady. Even gold won't turn your tide. We flow together like an ocean.